Are you looking to leverage Instagram to grow your podcast? Well, in this episode, I'll be breaking down the crucial fundamental steps that you need to follow in order to best grow your show using Instagram. Hey everyone, welcome to Impact Podcaster Academy. My name is Alec Cass and I help podcasters create impact and income with their show without needing to rely on sponsors or going viral. So the advice I'm going to share in this episode, it's really a culmination of all the best frameworks and principles that I've found and studied from multiple influencers and brands that have built like 7-figure businesses using tools like Instagram. And you could very easily do the same. Well, I'm not going to say easily, but you can use the same frameworks to grow your own podcast as well. Now, at the core for why these brands achieved such great success is because they had a strong community. Now, human beings throughout our history on Earth, it's been shown that we really thrive in community, and for thousands of years we've gathered in groups. And just because the world is leaning more towards taking things virtually, it doesn't mean that mankind's drive to be in community is any less present. So in the real world, a strong community meant people were more likely to survive. And in the digital world, a strong community means your podcast is more likely to survive as well. And it won't matter if Instagram or any other social media platform changes their algorithms. It won't matter if sites dampen your reach online. Because when you have a strong community, you have a place where you can confidently expect your audience to hear your message without you relying on flash in the pan, virality tricks or tactics, things like that. But what's most important about community is that you'll have a group of people who you can trust and rely on. And if you're looking to be part of a solid community of like-minded, impact-making podcasters, then I highly recommend you get involved and check out the Impact Podcaster Academy private Facebook group. There's a lot of free resources and really well-knowledged people in there who are giving advice. And you got opportunities to gain access to early trainings as well. It's a fun place to come learn, ask questions, and contribute to. So anyway, enough of a little plug there. So I want to give you a bit of a 30,000 foot, there we go, 30,000 foot overview of this plan that we're going to implement to help you grow your podcast using Instagram. Now, the first thing is that we're going to aim to increase the number of potential visitors who will see your Instagram page. And then the second step is having your content turn those potential visitors into followers. Third step is to have those followers turn into loyal fans, loyal followers who will keep engaging with your content, and then we'll guide those followers and turn them into leads. And last but not least, we'll have opportunities for those leads to then become customers. But in order to follow those steps, you need to be very dialed in on the type of follower that you're looking to attract. So when you have the perfect follower dialed in, you'll be able to know exactly what to provide your audience that will produce the most impact in their lives, and you'll be able to charge way more, or at least you could start charging because you'll be able to provide significantly more transformation in their lives. You'll also know exactly who it is that you want to target and promote your content towards. You'll know what kind of products they want, what kind of services they need as well. And the first step to defining your perfect follower is to first define what area you are most skilled at and or derive the most purpose from. So let's use markets, for example. Are you skilled or do you find purpose in the area of health and wellness? Are you skilled or do you find purpose in the area of relationships? It could be intimate, platonic, or familial relationships. Or are you skilled or find purpose in the area of business, like leadership, finances, things like that? So pick one of those. And I want you to notice that I didn't ask if your podcast topic is related to one of those three categories. And the reason why is because many podcasters that I've worked with and have spoken to, they find it very difficult. It's difficult for us to label our show as just being one of those three categories. My show is health, or my show is based on relationships, or my show is more business focused. A lot of us think that our show is a combination of two, maybe even all three of those things. But the reality is that every large business, brand, organization, even religious groups, they focus their marketing on just one of those three areas, not two, not one and a half, it's just one. So the reason why they do that is because it makes it easier for people to say yes when they know what specific area of their life they will get results in. So for example, there was a top marketing firm. They tracked data on the best marketing message over the past few decades. And they found that when it came to the messaging in their marketing, if a marketing message tried to sell someone on the idea that a certain product or a service would deliver them results in more than one of those categories, people were like 50 to 90% less likely to purchase. So it's like, oh, our product will make you healthier and can help your relationship be better. It's like, ooh, immediately 50 to 90% drop off rate. If they focused just on health, it would have had a boost of 50 to 90%. Or if they focused just on relationship, it would have had a boost of 50 to 90%. But if the messaging was, if they just shifted it to one of the three categories, people are more likely to purchase. They're more likely to stay engaged. So right now you might be thinking like, oh, well, this doesn't apply to me because I'm not selling anything. But the reality is you are selling something. You're selling your brand. You're selling your community. You're selling your podcast. Now imagine if by simply focusing your podcast's marketing on just health, relationships, or business, imagine if you did that and you saw an increase in subscribers and listeners go increase by like 50 or even 90%. Like that'd be pretty cool. But if you're thinking like, oh, well, Joe Rogan, for example, he doesn't have a podcast that's focused just on health or business or relationship. His show probably likely covers all three. So why can't mine? And to put it very bluntly, the reason why he can do that is because he's Joe Rogan. His stuff's already taken off. It's already at the top. He could do whatever he wants. He could walk in and record an entire episode wearing underwear, only underwear, and it'd probably do well. If anything, that probably would go very viral. But we can't do that because we're not at that level yet. So let's say you're someone who thinks, maybe these categories don't even apply to your show. Or like I said previously, like maybe you think more than one applies. Like, what do you do then? Well, think of companies like Coca-Cola, Budweiser, Chase Bank. If I were to ask you what category these three companies fall into, other than Chase Bank, it might not seem that clear. Coca-Cola, it's like, is it health? No, Coca-Cola is not healthy. I doubt they would try to market it as healthy. They're definitely not going to say it's going to make you wealthy by drinking Coca-Cola. But how in the world would Coca-Cola be about relationships? Yet, if you look at their marketing, it's like all relationship focused. Same thing with Budweiser. I mean, it's a beer. It's something that gets you drunk. How is it about friends? And then people think like, oh, well, you drink when you're hanging out with friends. And it's like, well, that's what they want people to associate it with. Even Chase Bank, like they could go the route of like, oh yeah, we're a bank and money and you get more money working with us. And it's like, no, a lot of their marketing that has worked well in the past has been stuff where it's like, oh no, we're not just a bank. We're people that care about you. We're in your community. We're involved and you're involved in your community, relationships. And it's like, oh snap. So even with those examples, they even focus their marketing on just one thing. Even if it doesn't seem like it would fit like Chase Bank and relationships or Coca-Cola and relationships. They know the numbers and they know if they focus on just one, it's going to be way better than trying to focus on a bunch of different things. So in most cases, when it comes to how one brands themselves, they're going to focus on just one thing. So the point I want to make is that even though you may think your podcast might be a combination of categories, you'll find it way more beneficial to stick with just one category that you can market well in and that you're skilled in than if you try to pick multiple ones. So if your podcast doesn't fit into only one category, at least make sure your marketing or messaging is focused on just one. And if you do, you're going to see some good results from it. But knowing what market you're going to focus your messaging on isn't all that you need for defining your perfect followers. The next step is to do some real digging and to look for the places where your followers are already hanging out at. So this means places like Facebook groups or other Instagram pages, even blogs. Other podcasters' audiences, they might be plugged into different places on YouTube even. So this is important because you can leverage that later on when trying to run ads, maybe doing marketing campaigns to your audience, but it also helps you to be in a position where you can interact with and learn from people who are already active in those groups. So with this approach, you're essentially seeking out, like imagine you're trying to find a lock, and then you're going to create a key to open that lock. But what most of the time, what a lot of us do is we try creating a key and then we go out searching for a lock to unlock. And it's like, that's like statistically like near impossible to do. If you were just make a random key and find a lock that it'll open, that's going to be very difficult. But if you already know the specific lock that you want to open up, then you can start crafting a key to get it open. And that's what this approach is basically allowing you to do. You'll be able to get to see what the people like, what they dislike. You'll get to understand and study what their dreams are, what their struggles are. You can even study the content of the people or the pages that they're part of. And that's important because that can inspire you to figure out what types of content to create that can lead to discovering where you can come in with something new or something different, where you can provide your own unique spin to things. So I'm sure you can kind of start to see how doing this type of research can really help you to clearly define who your perfect followers are. And it's actually pretty neat, right? So to wrap up this episode, what you should take away from it is that you got to pick a single market, something that you're most skilled at or most passionate in, whether it's health, relationships, or business, and you got to pick just one. And then take some time, even possibly today, look for communities online where your perfect followers are likely hanging out at. It might be Facebook groups, Instagram pages, blogs, YouTube channels. Look for these places and keep track of them so you can make sure that you're participating in those groups so that you can better understand your perfect followers. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really look forward to seeing what you find from doing this type of research. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.